The great meeting hall of Harmony Prime stretched across 3 kilometers of gleaming metal and crystal. 13 massive seats formed a perfect circle around a holographic display that showed the entire galaxy in slow rotation. Each seat belonged to a different species that had joined the Galactic Council over the past 5,000 years. Today, like every month for centuries, representatives from across known space gathered to discuss matters that affected all civilized worlds. Commander. Taman adjusted his breathing apparatus as he reviewed the day's agenda on his datapad. As the military representative of the Varelian Defense Force, he had seen many strange reports cross his desk, but today's topic made him shake his scaled head in disbelief. The Varelians were a proud warrior race, standing nearly 3 meters tall, with thick armor-like skin that had evolved on their harsh desert world. They valued facts and logic above all else, which made the current discussion particularly irritating. To Taman, "Order, please," announced Speaker Velkos, an elderly member of the floating Nethari species. Her translucent body pulsed with soft blue light as she called the session to begin. "We gather today to address the growing circulation of prohibited materials regarding a mythical species." Dr. Yunji floated in her specialized chamber filled with the methane-rich atmosphere her Kaltorian physiology required. Unlike the warlike Vrelians, the Kaltorians had evolved as peaceful researchers and healers. Their slug-like bodies and multiple eye stalks made them excellent observers, and Yunji had spent decades studying alien biology across the galaxy. She had requested this emergency session after discovering disturbing trends in the black market information networks. Honored council members, Yunji began. Her voice translated through the chamber's speakers. "I have documented over 2,000 separate incidents in the past year alone. Traders, pirates, and even some legitimate researchers have been spreading stories about a species they call humans." Commander Taman's tail lashed with annoyance. "Dr. Yunji, with respect, we have discussed this nonsense before. There is no such species. Our star charts have mapped every inhabited system in the galaxy. We have contact with every civilized race. These humans are nothing more than trader tales meant to drive up prices for fake artifacts." The Kaltorian. Scientists' eye stalks swiveled to focus on the Varelian commander. "That is precisely what concerns me, Commander. The stories are becoming more detailed and consistent. According to these accounts, humans supposedly come from a system they call Sol, orbiting a yellow star in the Outer Rim territories. Show us your evidence," rumbled Gorthmel, the massive representative of the silicon-based Rakani people. His rock-like features showed no emotion, but his deep voice carried curiosity. E1G activated her portion of the central hologram. Star charts appeared showing the galaxy's outer regions where only automated monitoring stations kept watch. "I have cross-referenced every database in Council space. No system matches the description of Sol. No yellow star in these coordinates supports any known life. Yet the stories persist and grow more elaborate each month." The hologram shifted to show confiscated items from black market raids. Strange devices with unfamiliar designs rotated slowly in the display. These artifacts allegedly came from human traders. Our best scientists cannot determine their origin or function. The materials are unknown. The construction methods are unlike anything in our databases. "Clever forgeries," Taman insisted. "Pirates have become quite skilled at creating false artifacts to fool gullible collectors. I have seen similar deceptions with supposed relics from the extinct Saphirian civilization." Actor Yunji's eye stalks drooped slightly. "I considered that possibility, Commander. However, metallurgical analysis shows these items were created using techniques that we have never seen before. The molecular structure suggests manufacturing processes that no known species possesses." Speaker Velka's pulsed with deeper blue light, indicating her growing concern. "What exactly do these stories claim about this human species?" "According to the accounts," Yunji continued, "humans are bipedal mammals, roughly 2 meters in height. They are described as having only 2 eyes, external ears, and skin that ranges in color from pale to dark brown. Most remarkably, the stories claim they have no natural armor, venomous glands, or other obvious defensive capabilities." This statement caused murmurs throughout the chamber. Representative Kickstell of the Insectoid Hive Collective clicked her mandibles in what passed for laughter among her species. Species with no natural defenses? Impossible. How would they survive to develop intelligence, let alone space travel? Stories become stranger, Yunji admitted. Humans allegedly developed their technology completely alone, without any guidance from existing galactic civilization. They supposedly evolved on a world filled with predators, harsh weather, and limited resources. The accounts claim this isolation made them uniquely aggressive and adaptable. Commander Taman stood to his full imposing height. This grows more ridiculous by the moment. Every intelligent species in the galaxy was discovered and guided by those who came before. The natural progression is for a young species to be contacted once they develop radio communications, then gradually introduced to galactic society. No species develops faster than light travel in isolation, yet that is exactly what these human stories claim, Yunji replied quietly. They supposedly achieved interstellar flight through their own research, using completely different theoretical approaches than our established physics. Deep in the lower levels of Harmony Prime, monitoring specialist Haiyan Wu sat surrounded by dozens of screens showing data from automated sensors scattered throughout the galaxy. Unlike the prestigious council representatives above, Haiyan Wu was a mid-level technician for the Galactic Survey Corps. His job was to watch for asteroids, solar flares, and other natural phenomena that might threaten trade routes or colonies. The Survey Corps employed members from several species. Belonged to the Jirani, a people known for their exceptional attention to detail and patience. His large compound eyes could track multiple data streams simultaneously, making him perfect for monitoring work that would drive other species to distraction. For the past several months, Haiyan Wu had been noticing unusual energy readings from Sector 7 Alpha, a region of space that officially contained only empty systems and automated beacons. The readings were subtle, easy to dismiss as equipment malfunctions or natural phenomena. But Haiyan Wu's training had taught him that patterns often emerged from seemingly random data. He pulled up his personal files, data he had been collecting without authorization from his superiors. The energy signatures appeared in regular intervals, suggesting artificial origin. More interesting was their location. According to his calculations, the readings came from the same general region described in the prohibited human stories. Circulating through black market channels, Haiyan Wu's antenna twitched with nervous energy. Accessing prohibited materials was a serious offense that could cost him his position. But scientific curiosity had always been stronger than his sense of caution. He had downloaded copies of the human stories and compared them with his sensor data. The correlation was impossible to ignore. The stories described a system with specific stellar characteristics, planetary arrangements, and energy outputs. His sensors were detecting exactly those signatures from the supposedly empty Sector 7 Alpha above in the council chamber. The debate continued. Speaker Velkas called for a formal vote on whether to increase penalties for spreading human mythology, or to launch an investigation into the source of these persistent stories. "I propose we end this waste of time," Commander Taman declared. "We should classify any mention of humans as seditious material and impose harsh penalties on anyone caught spreading these lies. Our citizens deserve protection from obviously false information designed to undermine their faith in council authority." Dr. Yunji's stalks swayed in disagreement. "With respect, Commander, suppressing information has never made it disappear. Perhaps a small investigation would put these stories to rest more effectively than censorship." The vote was called. 11 representatives voted to classify human stories as prohibited conspiracy material. Only Dr. Yunji and one other member voted for investigation. Speaker Velkas announced the decision with formal authority. By majority vote, the Galactic Council declares that any materials, stories, or artifacts related to the mythical human species are hereby classified as prohibited conspiracy materials. Distribution, possession, or discussion of such materials is punishable by fine and imprisonment. As the council session ended and representatives departed for their home worlds, none of them knew that far below their feet, monitoring specialists, Haiyan Wu was preparing an unauthorized report that would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. 3 weeks after the council voted to ban human stories, Captain So-young received an encrypted message that changed everything. She was eating her morning meal in the officer's dining room aboard the exploration ship Starweaver when her personal communicator buzzed with an urgent signal. The message was from monitoring specialist Hyan Wu at Harmony Prime. It contained detailed sensor readings, energy pattern analysis, and a request that made So-young's heart beat faster. Hyan Wu was asking her to investigate something that officially did not exist. Captain, So-young was a member of the Ashanti species, a race of tall, graceful beings with silver skin and large black eyes. Her people were natural explorers who had discovered more new worlds than any other species in the galaxy. The Ashanti lived for the excitement of finding unknown things in the vast darkness of space. Jinho, report to my ready room immediately. So-young spoke into her communicator. Tactical. Officer Jinho arrived within minutes. He was a corvan, a species that looked similar to large cats but walked on 2 legs and had opposable thumbs. His thick fur was dark brown with black stripes. His yellow eyes could see much better than most species in low-light conditions. Captain You look troubled, Jinho said, as he sat down across from her desk. So-young showed him the data from Hyan Wu. Look at these readings. Energy signatures from Sector 7 Alpha that suggest artificial origin. The patterns are regular and complex, indicating advanced technology. Jinho studied the information carefully. His people were natural hunters and had excellent instincts for detecting danger. This data shows civilization where our star charts say there is nothing. Could it be a hidden pirate base or a legal colony? That was my first thought, So-young replied. But look at the energy output levels. These readings suggest a population of billions, not a small outlaw settlement. And the technology signatures do not match anything in our databases. The captain made her decision quickly. I want you to gather our best crew for a reconnaissance mission. We will investigate these readings personally. Within 6 hours, the Starweaver was ready to depart. Jinho had selected communications specialist Nari and chief engineer Dong Hyan to join the mission crew. Nari was a member of the telepathic mind Dari species, whose natural ability to sense thoughts and emotions made her excellent at first contact situations. Dong Hyan belonged to the mechanical Tecton race, beings who were part organic and part machine, making them the best engineers in the galaxy. Course plotted for Sector 7 Alpha, reported the ship's navigator. Travel time at maximum speed will be 4 days. Captain So-young settled into her command chair as the Starweaver entered faster-than-light travel. She had led dozens of exploration missions, but something about this one felt different. The energy readings were unlike anything she had encountered. In 20 years of deep space exploration, during the journey, the crew studied every piece of data Hyan Wu had provided. The more they analyzed the readings, the more mysterious they became. Captain Dong Hyan reported on the second day, I have been running simulations based on these energy patterns. The technology creating these signatures appears to use completely different principles than our own. Nari looked up from her communication console. I have been reviewing the forbidden human stories that were banned by the council. The descriptions of their supposed technology match these energy readings perfectly. Jinho's ears flattened against his head, a sign of worry among his people. If these readings are real, then the council made a serious mistake. We could be approaching a civilization that has been developing in secret for thousands of years. On the 4th day, Starweaver dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Sector 7 Alpha. What they saw on their screens made the entire crew fall silent. A yellow star burned brightly in the center of the system, exactly as the human stories had described. 9 planets orbited the star in regular patterns. The 3rd planet from the star was blue and green, covered in swirling white clouds. Scanning the system, Dong Hyan announced, I am detecting massive artificial structures in orbit around the 3rd planet. Space stations, communication satellites, and... Captain, there are hundreds of spacecraft moving between the planets. Captain So-young felt her hands shake slightly. Are you certain these are Artificial constructs? Absolutely certain. Geometric patterns and energy outputs can only be created by intelligent beings. And Captain, the size of some of these structures suggests a civilization far more advanced than our initial estimates. Nari suddenly looked up from her instruments with alarm. Captain, I am receiving communication signals from the planet. Multiple sources are trying to contact us. Can you understand the language? So-young asked. That is the problem, Nari replied with confusion. My telepathic abilities usually allow me to sense the meaning behind words, even in unknown languages. But these signals contain thoughts and concepts that I cannot interpret. It is as if these beings think in completely different ways than any known species. Jinho checked his tactical displays. Captain, I am detecting defensive systems throughout the system. Energy weapons, shield generators, and spacecraft that appear to be designed for military purposes. Whatever species lives here, they are well prepared for conflict. The ship's main screen suddenly activated with an incoming transmission. The image showed a being that matched the human descriptions exactly. It had smooth skin, 2 eyes, external ears, and no visible natural weapons or armor. It was sitting in what appeared to be a command center. The being spoke in a language none of them had ever heard. Nari tried to use the ship's universal translator, but the device could not process the words. The translator is completely failing, Nari reported. This language developed independently of all known galactic civilizations. These beings have no connection to any species in our databases. Captain So-young stood up slowly. Open a communication channel. Let me try basic mathematical sequences to establish peaceful intent. She began transmitting simple number patterns, hoping the universal concept of mathematics would allow basic communication. After several minutes, the transmission from the planet changed. The being on the screen began showing mathematical equations and star charts. They are showing us their location in the galaxy, Dong Haiyan observed. They call their star Sol and their planet Earth, exactly as the stories claimed. The human on the screen pointed to images of their spacecraft and made gestures that seemed to indicate curiosity about the Star Weaver. It was clear they wanted to know where the alien visitors had come from. So-young had the ship's computer display galactic charts showing the location of Harmony Prime and the major council worlds. The human's reaction was immediate and surprising. Its eyes grew wide and it began speaking rapidly to others who were not visible on the screen. Captain Nari said with growing excitement, I am sensing strong emotions from the planet. Surprise, curiosity, and something else. I think they are as shocked to discover us as we are to find them. Jinho checked his tactical readings again. The defensive systems are powering down. They appear to be showing peaceful intent. For the next several hours, both sides attempted to establish meaningful communication. Progress was slow but steady. The humans showed images of their world, their technology, and their people. The diversity of human appearance was remarkable. It came in many different colors and sizes, but all shared the same basic body structure. What disturbed the crew most was realizing that humans had developed their entire civilization without any outside help. Their technology was completely different from galactic standard designs. Their mathematics used unfamiliar symbols, and their approach to space travel was unlike anything in council records. Captain Dong Haiyan said quietly, These humans have achieved in isolation what most species require galactic cooperation to accomplish. Their engineering is crude in some ways but brilliant in others. They solve problems we never knew existed. As the day continued, one fact became undeniably clear. The Galactic Council had been wrong. Humans were not a myth or a traitor's tale. They were real, they were advanced, and they had been developing in secret, while the rest of the galaxy remained ignorant of their existence. Captain, No-young knew that this discovery would change everything. The galaxy would never be the same. Once the truth was revealed, Admiral Kilswam was drinking his morning coffee in his office at Earth Defense Command when the emergency alarm began blaring throughout the facility. The sound meant only one thing. An unknown spacecraft had entered the solar system. In all of human history, this alarm had never sounded for a real threat. The Admiral was a tall man in his 50s with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many military conflicts. He had fought in the water wars of 2157 and the asteroid mining conflicts that followed. But nothing in his experience had prepared him for what his aide was about to tell him. "Sir, we have a situation," said Lieutenant Commander J1 as he rushed into the office. "Deep Space Monitoring Station 7 detected an unknown vessel 4 hours ago. It appeared at the edge of our solar system and has been slowly moving toward Earth." Admiral Couson set down his coffee cup and followed J1 to the main command center. The room was filled with dozens of officers, staring at large screens that showed tracking data from across the solar system. At the center of the main display was a red dot representing the unknown craft. "Report," the Admiral ordered as he took his position at the command console. Commander Sung-ho, the senior tracking officer, looked pale as he spoke. "Sir, the vessel is unlike anything in our databases. Its energy signature suggests technology far more advanced than our own. The craft appears to be scanning our planets and orbital installations." Dr. The Jin hurried into the command center carrying a thick folder of documents. She was the head of Earth's Xenological Studies Department, a division that had been created to study the possibility of alien life, but had never found any evidence that such life existed. "Admiral, I have been reviewing our first contact protocols," Dr. The Jin said breathlessly. "We always assumed that if we encountered aliens, they would be similar to us in technology and development. This situation is completely different from our planning scenarios." Admiral Kyosun studied the tracking data. "Different, Doctor. The energy readings suggest this vessel uses faster-than-light travel technology that we have only theorized about. If these are truly aliens, they are centuries ahead of us in space travel capabilities." The main screen suddenly changed to show a communication signal being received from the unknown craft. The image was fuzzy at first, then cleared to show a being that was definitely not human. It had silver skin, large black eyes, and a graceful appearance that was both beautiful and frightening. "My God," whispered Dr. The Jin. "They are real. We are not alone in the universe." The alien being began speaking in a language that sounded musical but completely foreign. The words meant nothing to anyone in the command center. "Get our best linguists down here immediately," Admiral Kyosun ordered, "and contact Captain Minsu. Tell him to prepare the horizon for immediate departure." Captain Minsu received the emergency orders while he was conducting training exercises with his crew aboard the Earth defense ship Horizon. The Horizon was humanity's most advanced warship, built to protect Earth from asteroid impacts and hostile human factions. It had never been designed to face alien technology. "All hands, this is the captain," Minsu announced over the ship's communication system. "We have received orders to investigate an unknown contact in our solar system. This is not a drill. All crew to battle stations." The ship's bridge became busy with activity as officers prepared for humanity's first encounter with alien life. Pilot Haewon took her position at the flight controls, her hands steady despite the historic nature of their mission. She had flown through asteroid fields and solar storms, but this was beyond anything she had trained for. "Captain, all systems are ready," reported Science Officer Biora. She was young but brilliant, having graduated at the top of her class from the Space Academy. Her specialty was analyzing unknown phenomena, though she had never expected to analyze alien technology, marine. Commander Jae-sung stood at attention near the tactical station. He was responsible for the ship's security and had trained his troops for boarding actions and hostile encounters. His soldiers were the best fighters humanity had produced, but they had only fought other humans. "Sir, the alien vessel is trying to communicate with us," Biora reported. "They're sending mathematical sequences and star charts. It appears they want to establish peaceful contact." Captain Minsu made a decision that would change human history. "Open a communication channel. Let's show them we understand their peaceful intent." The main screen activated to show the bridge of the alien ship. Several different types of beings were visible, all clearly non-human. The sight was both thrilling and terrifying for the human crew. Dr. Thegeen's voice came through the communication. "System from Earth. Captain, I am transmitting basic mathematical concepts and images of our solar system. Try to establish that we are an intelligent species." For the next several hours, both sides worked to build basic communication. The aliens showed images of their galaxy and pointed to distant star systems where other species lived. The humans realized with growing amazement that they were not just meeting one alien race, but representatives of an entire galactic civilization.
Captain.
Biora said with excitement. They are showing us star maps of thousands of inhabited worlds. There is an entire community of species out there that we never knew existed. The most shocking revelation came when the aliens displayed images of a massive space station surrounded by ships from many different species. It was clearly some kind of central meeting place or government facility. They have a galactic government, Dr. The Gin observed from Earth. Multiple species working together in some kind of alliance or federation. Marine Commander Jae-soon studied the alien displays with a soldier's eye for detail. Their technology appears to be standardized across different species. They share knowledge and resources on a scale we cannot imagine. As communication continued, one fact became clear to everyone involved. Humanity had developed completely alone, while an entire galactic civilization existed just beyond their knowledge. Every other intelligent species had been discovered and welcomed into this community when they developed. Space travel. Humans were the exception. They had been missed or overlooked, developing in isolation for thousands of years, while the rest of the galaxy remained unaware of their existence. Admiral Captain Minsu reported back to Earth. These aliens seem as surprised to find us as we are to find them. I believe they had no idea humans existed. Admiral Kyo-soon processed this information carefully. Captain, what are your impressions of their intentions? They appear peaceful and curious, Minsu replied. But Admiral, their technology is far beyond ours. If they wanted to harm us, we would have little ability to resist. Dr. The Jin reviewed the communication logs with growing concern. Admiral, there is something else. The aliens keep showing us images that suggest they expected to find either empty space or a primitive civilization. They seem shocked that we have advanced technology in space travel. Back on the alien ship, Captain So-young was having similar discussions with her crew. The discovery of humans had created a crisis that went beyond first contact protocols. These humans developed faster-than-light travel without any guidance from the galactic community. Communications specialist Nari observed. In our history, no species has ever achieved this level of advancement in complete isolation. Tactical Officer Jin Ho was studying human defensive capabilities. Captain, their weapons and shields are primitive compared to galactic standards. But their ship designs show remarkable innovation. They solved engineering problems in ways we never considered. The most troubling realization was that humans had no concept of galactic civilization. They had spent their entire history believing they were alone in the universe. This isolation had shaped their development in ways that made them fundamentally different from every other known species. Captain Engineer Dong Hyan reported human. Technology shows signs of constant warfare and resource competition. Their ships are built for conflict in ways that galactic vessels are not. Captain So-young understood the implications immediately. Every species in the galactic community had been guided and protected during their development. Humans had faced every challenge alone, making them uniquely adapted for survival and conflict, as both sides continued their cautious communication. One question dominated everyone's thoughts. What would happen when the rest of the galaxy learned that humans existed and had developed capabilities that challenged everything they thought they knew about intelligent life? Dr. Yoonji had not slept in 3 days. Terrian, scientist, sat in her chamber aboard a fast courier ship racing toward the Sol system, with a team of the galaxy's best linguists and cultural experts. When Captain So-young's report reached the Galactic Council, caused immediate chaos and emergency sessions. The Council had been forced to admit they were wrong about humans. More troubling was the realization that their star charts and survey data contained a massive blind spot. An entire solar system with an advanced civilization had been overlooked for centuries. Dr. Yoonji, we are receiving communication from the human vessel, announced the ship's communication officer. They are requesting permission to establish formal contact protocols. Dr. Yoonji's eye stalks focused on the communication display. After weeks of careful preparation, she was finally going to meet the species that had caused such upheaval in galactic politics. Open the channel and begin translation protocols. The main screen activated to show the bridge of the human ship horizon. Dr. The Gin appeared on screen, looking tired but excited. Both scientists had been working around the clock to build a basic translation system that could handle the vast differences between human and galactic languages. Dr. Yunji, it is an honor to meet you, Dr. The Gin said through the translation system. The words came out slightly delayed and with odd pronunciation, but the meaning was clear. The honor is mine, Dr. The Gin, Yunji replied. Your species has presented us with the greatest scientific mystery in galactic history. How did humans develop faster than light travel without any outside guidance? Over the following days, both scientists worked together to unlock the secrets of human development. What they discovered amazed and disturbed them in equal measure. Our historical records show that humans faced constant challenges. Dr. The Gin explained during one of their daily conferences. Natural disasters, climate changes, resource shortages, and conflicts with dangerous predators shaped our evolution for millions of years. Dr. Yunji compared this with galactic standard development. Most species are contacted and guided when they develop basic space travel. They receive assistance with advanced mathematics, resource management, and conflict resolution. Humans received none of this help. The implications became clear as their research continued. Humans had developed traits that were almost unknown among galactic species. They showed extreme adaptability, creative problem-solving under pressure, and what Dr. Yunji termed impossible persistence. When humans encounter a problem they cannot solve, they do not accept failure, Dr. Vijin explained. They continue, trying different approaches until they find a solution or create a new method entirely. This attitude was demonstrated during the translation work itself. When standard galactic translation methods failed, human linguists developed entirely new approaches that combined mathematics, visual symbols, and even musical patterns to convey meaning. Commander Taman arrived at the Sol system 1 week later. Aboard a Galactic Council diplomatic vessel, the Varelian military officer had been sent to assess human defensive capabilities and determine if they posed any threat to galactic security. Captain Minsu welcomed the alien delegation aboard the Horizon with formal military honors. The sight of the massive Varelian commander caused some nervousness among the human crew. But Minsu maintained proper diplomatic protocol. Commander Taman, welcome to the Sol system, Captain Minsu said through the translation system. We hope this meeting will lead to peaceful relations between our peoples. Taman studied the human captain carefully. Despite being much smaller than a Varelian warrior, Minsu showed no signs of fear or submission. Captain Minsu, I must ask direct questions about human military capabilities. The Council needs to understand your defensive intentions. What followed was a cultural exchange that revealed fundamental differences between human and galactic thinking. When Taman asked about human surrender protocols, Captain Minsu looked confused. Surrender protocols? Minsu repeated slowly. Commander, could you explain what you mean by that term? When facing a superior enemy force, what are your procedures for yielding territory or resources to avoid destruction? Taman clarified. Captain, Minsu exchanged glances with his officers before answering. Commander, humans do not have standard surrender protocols. When we face a threat to our territory or resources, we fight to defend them. This response troubled Taman greatly. In galactic civilization, conflicts were typically resolved through negotiation, resource sharing, or territorial concessions. Actual warfare was extremely rare and usually brief. Captain, surely you understand that some battles cannot be won, Taman pressed. When facing impossible odds, the logical response is to preserve lives by accepting defeat. Marine Commander Jasun stepped forward. Commander Taman, with respect, humans have a different perspective on impossible odds. We have a saying, the only battle that cannot be won is the one you do not fight. Over the following days, Taman observed human military training and reviewed their historical conflicts. What he discovered was unlike anything in galactic military doctrine. Humans had spent thousands of years fighting not just each other, but their environment, predators, diseases, and natural disasters. This constant struggle had created a species that simply did not accept defeat as an option. Dr. Yoonji Taman reported during a private communication. Human military philosophy is based on principles that would be considered impossible by galactic standards. They plan for victory even when facing superior forces. Can you give me an example? The scientist asked. I observed training exercises where human soldiers practiced fighting in situations where they were outnumbered 10-1, Taman explained. Instead of surrender protocols, they developed tactics for winning against impossible odds. Meanwhile, Admiral Kyusung was learning similar lessons about galactic civilization. Captain So-young had shared extensive records about the peaceful cooperation between different species in the galaxy. Captain So-young, your people have achieved something remarkable, Admiral Kyusung observed during a diplomatic dinner. 13 different species working together without major conflicts for thousands of years. So-young's expression showed both pride and concern. Admiral, this cooperation was possible because all our species developed under similar conditions. We were guided by established civilizations and learned to value peace above territorial expansion. Science Officer Biora had been studying galactic technology and social structures. Admiral, I think we represent something completely different to them. Every other species learned to compromise and share resources as they developed. Humans learned to compete and overcome challenges through individual effort. The cultural differences went beyond military thinking. Humans showed innovation patterns that amazed galactic scientists. When presented with galactic standard solutions to engineering problems, human engineers immediately began suggesting improvements and alternative approaches. They do not accept that something is impossible simply because it has never been done before. Dr. Yoonji reported to the council. Humans approach every problem as if it can be solved with enough effort and creativity. Engineer Dong Hyan worked closely with human technicians and found their methods both fascinating and disturbing. Captain So-young, human engineering uses approaches that we would consider dangerous or impractical, yet their solutions often work better than our established methods. The most significant discovery came when both sides shared their histories of space exploration. Galactic species had explored space gradually, with support and guidance from established civilizations. Humans had pushed into space despite having no knowledge of whether they would find anything useful or safe. Captain Minsu showed me records of early human space missions, Taman reported. They sent explorers to other planets without knowing if they could return safely. This level of risk-taking is unprecedented in galactic history. As the cultural exchange continued, both sides realized they were dealing with something completely new. Humans represented a species that had developed all the capabilities of galactic civilization, while maintaining the survival instincts and competitive drive that most species had, abandoned during their guided development. Dr. Yoonji said during their final formal meeting, "Your people have achieved something we thought was impossible. You have advanced technology combined with primitive survival instincts. This combination does not exist anywhere else in the galaxy." Dr. Jin considered this carefully. Dr. Yoonji, perhaps that is why we survived and developed alone. The traits that allowed us to reach the stars are the same ones that prevented us from being discovered earlier. Both scientists realized they had uncovered a truth that would change the galaxy forever. Humans were not just another species to be welcomed into galactic civilization. They were something entirely different, shaped by isolation and struggle into a form of intelligent life that challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about development and survival. Supreme Warlord Zekthor stood on the bridge of his massive battleship Death's Edge and watched the galaxy burn. The Drakari hegemony had been waiting for this moment for over a century, while the soft species of the Galactic Council played at peace and cooperation. His warriors had been preparing for the day when they would claim their rightful place as rulers of all civilized space. The Drakari were a nightmare made real. They stood 3 meters tall, with thick black scales covering muscular bodies designed for warfare. Their faces had no expression except for cold yellow eyes that showed no mercy, for powerful arms ended in claws that could tear through metal. And their technology was built for one purpose: conquest. "Warlord, the invasion fleets are in position," reported Battle Commander Vekmar. "Our spies confirm that the Council forces are scattered across the galaxy investigating the human discovery. They cannot respond quickly to a coordinated attack." Zekthor's mouth open to reveal rows of sharp teeth and what passed for a smile among his people. Oh, perfect. The Council's curiosity about these mysterious humans has created the opportunity we have been waiting for. While they waste time on diplomacy, we will take their worlds. The Drakari had been monitoring Galactic Council communications for months, when reports of human discovery reached their hidden bases. Zekthor realized that the galaxy's attention was focused on the Sol system. Defense fleets had been pulled away from border worlds to escort diplomats and scientists to meet these new aliens. Begin the attack, Zekthor commanded. Strike the outer colonies first. Show the galaxy that the age of Drakari dominance has begun. Across the galaxy, peaceful worlds that had known only prosperity and cooperation for thousands of years suddenly faced an enemy they had almost forgotten could exist. The Drakari struck without warning, their black ships emerging from hidden bases to attack defenseless colonies. Commander Taman was aboard a transport ship returning from the Sol system. When the emergency signals began flooding the communication channels, the first reports were confusing and seemed impossible. Commander, we are receiving distress calls from 17 different star systems, reported the ship's communication officer. All report attacks by unknown forces using advanced military technology. Taman's warrior instincts immediately recognized. What was happening? Show me the attack patterns and ship configurations. The main display filled with tactical data that made the Vrelian commander's blood run cold. The attacking ships used designs that had been banned by Galactic Treaty for centuries. Energy weapons that were considered too cruel for civilized warfare. Tactics that showed no concern for civilian casualties. By the ancient stars, Taman whispered, the Drakari have returned. Back in the Sol system, Captain Soyoung received the emergency transmissions while she was conducting final diplomatic meetings with the human leadership. The peaceful atmosphere of cultural exchange was shattered by reports of massive military attacks across Council space. Captain, we need to return to Council space immediately, urged communications specialist Nari. The outer colonies are being overrun by forces we cannot identify. Admiral Kyosun was present for the emergency briefing. The human military leaders studied the tactical displays with the experienced eye of someone who had fought many wars. What he saw was both familiar and disturbing. Captain Soyoung, these attack patterns show careful planning and coordination. Admiral Kyosun observed. This is not a random raid or terrorist action. Someone has been preparing for a full-scale war. Captain Minsu joined the emergency conference aboard the Horizon. Admiral, our analysis suggests the attacking forces have been monitoring Council communications and chose this moment specifically because of the human discovery. The terrible irony was not lost on anyone present. The galaxy's fascination with finding humans had created the perfect opportunity for their enemies to strike. Captain Soyoung, Admiral Kyosun said carefully, your people need military assistance. Our ships could help defend Council worlds while you reorganize your forces. The offer created an immediate dilemma. Humans had never fought alongside. Alien species and their military technology was completely different from galactic standards. But the situation was desperate enough that traditional protocols seemed less important than survival. Admiral, I must be honest with you, Captain Soyoung replied. Our military doctrine emphasizes defensive strategies and minimal casualties. We have not fought a major war in over 1,000 years. Captain Minsu studied the tactical data more carefully. Captain, with respect, I think that might be your biggest problem. These attackers are using strategies designed for total conquest, not limited conflict. Science Officer Biora had been analyzing the enemy ship designs and weapon signatures. Admiral, the attacking forces are using technology that appears optimized for destroying infrastructure and killing large numbers of civilians. This is not warfare as we understand it. Dr. Zijin reviewed the communication intercepts from the attacked worlds. The enemy is demanding complete surrender and is executing prisoners who refuse to cooperate. This level of brutality is beyond anything in human experience. Admiral Kyosun realized that the galaxy was facing an enemy that thought more like humans than like the peaceful Council species. Captain Soyoung, I believe your people are facing opponents who understand warfare the way humans do. They fight to win completely, not just to achieve limited objectives. Over the next several days, the scope of the Dracari invasion became clear. They had been planning this attack for decades, building hidden fleets and establishing secret bases throughout the galaxy. Their strategy was simple but effective: strike multiple targets simultaneously to prevent coordinated defense. Commander Taman managed to reach the Council emergency session at Harmony Prime, where panic and confusion dominated the discussions. Most council members had no experience with large-scale military conflict and struggled to understand the scope of the threat. The Dracari hegemony was supposedly contained by treaty and monitoring stations, reported intelligence coordinator Vexnil. Our records show their military capabilities were limited to defending their home systems. Those records were obviously wrong, Taman replied grimly. The attacking fleets show technological advancement far beyond our estimates. They have been secretly building a war machine while we believed they were contained. Speaker Velkas tried to maintain order as representatives argued about response strategies. We need immediate military assistance for the attacked worlds. How quickly can we mobilize our defense fleets? The answer was not encouraging. Council military forces were designed for peacekeeping and small conflicts, not major warfare. Their ships were built for exploration and patrol duties, not ship-to-ship combat against an enemy that had spent decades preparing for conquest. Our fastest response time is 6 days to reach the nearest attacked system, reported Fleet Coordinator Miltok. By then, the colonies will have been either captured or destroyed. It was at this moment that Captain Sa Young made a proposal that would have been unthinkable weeks earlier. Honored council members, the humans have offered to provide military assistance. Their ships and tactics might be better suited for this type of conflict. The suggestion caused immediate debate. Many council members were uncomfortable with the idea of relying on a species they had just discovered, especially one with such unusual military capabilities. These humans have never fought alongside galactic forces, objected Representative Kickstel. How can we trust them with the defense of our worlds? Captain Minsu, who had been granted permission to address the council, stood to respond, honored. Representatives, we understand your concerns. Humans have extensive experience with the type of warfare you are facing. Our entire history has been shaped by conflicts where survival required total commitment.
Dr. Yunji
supported the human proposal. Council members, our analysis shows that the Dracari are using military strategies that are completely foreign. To our experience, the humans developed similar strategies through necessity. The debate continued for hours, while more worlds fell to the Dracari advance. Finally, Speaker Velkos called for an emergency vote on whether to accept human military assistance. The vote was close, 7 in favor, 6 opposed. The galaxy's survival would now depend on whether a species that had been considered mythical just weeks earlier could help them fight an enemy that understood warfare as brutally as humans did. Admiral Kyosun received the authorization and immediately began coordinating with Captain So Young to plan joint human-alien military operations. Neither species had ever attempted such cooperation, but with the galaxy burning around them, they had no choice but to try. The final battle for galactic civilization was about to begin, and humanity would fight alongside aliens for the first time in their history. The Kepler Nebula had never seen a battle like this. The vast cloud of gas and dust that stretched across 3 star systems now blazed with the light of thousands of weapons firing simultaneously. Admiral Kyosun stood on the bridge of the newly upgraded flagship Terra's Resolve and watched the largest space battle in galactic history unfold before him. 2 weeks of desperate preparation had led to this moment. Human engineers had worked day and night with their alien counterparts to create hybrid weapon systems that combined human tactical innovation with galactic defensive technology. The results were ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral, the Dracari main fleet is approaching from Sector 7, reported Captain Minsu from his position aboard the combined task force flagship. Enemy strength is estimated at over 3,000 vessels. The numbers were terrifying. The Dracari had revealed military capabilities far beyond anything the Galactic Council had imagined possible. Their black ships moved through space like predators armed with weapons designed for complete destruction rather than limited warfare. All human vessels prepare for engagement, Admiral Kyosun commanded. Remember, we are not just fighting for Earth today, we are fighting for every peaceful world in the galaxy. Captain Soyoung coordinated the alien fleet from her position aboard the rebuilt Starweaver. The ship now carried both human weapons and galactic shield technology, making it a symbol of the cooperation that had developed between the species. Admiral Kyosun, galactic forces are in position, Soyoung reported. Commander Taemin is leading the Vrelian battle group. Dr. Yoonji has coordinated scientific support from the rear positions. The battle began when Supreme Warlord Zekthor launched his assault with typical Drakari brutality. His forces attacked in massive waves designed to overwhelm enemy defenses through sheer numbers and firepower. Human vessels engage enemy formation. Alpha, Admiral Kyosun ordered. Show them what we learned fighting each other for 10,000 years. What happened next changed galactic warfare forever. Instead of meeting the Drakari charge with traditional defensive formations, the human ships scattered into small groups that attacked from multiple directions simultaneously. Each group used tactics that seemed impossible by galactic military standards. Pilot Haewon led a squadron of fighters through an asteroid field that galactic pilots had declared impassable. Her ships used the floating rocks as cover while launching surprise attacks on Drakari battleships that thought they were safe from assault. Target their engine systems, Haewon commanded her pilots. Do not let them retreat to regroup. The human approach to space combat was unlike anything the Drakari had encountered. Where other species fought to achieve limited objectives and minimize casualties, humans fought to win completely and permanently. Marine Commander Jae-soon coordinated boarding actions that used human close combat expertise to devastating effect. His soldiers fought their way through Drakari ships, using tactics developed during thousands of years of human conflict. Remember your training, Jae-soon told his Marines as they prepared to board an enemy vessel? These enemies show no mercy, so we give them none in return. The boarding action shocked both allies and enemies. Galactic species typically avoided direct combat, preferring to disable enemy ships from a distance. Humans had no such hesitation about fighting face-to-face with their opponents. Commander Taemin watched the human tactics with growing amazement. Captain Soyoung, the humans fight like nothing I have ever seen. They attack positions that should be impossible to assault and succeed through sheer determination. Science Officer Biora had been coordinating tactical analysis from the Terra's resolve. Admiral, the Drakari are responding to our attacks with confusion. Their battle plans assumed they would face traditional galactic defensive strategies. The key moment came when Admiral Kyosun realized that the Drakari were fighting exactly like humans would fight. They used overwhelming force, showed no concern for their own casualties, and aimed for total victory rather than limited objectives. All ships, listen carefully, Admiral Kyo soon broadcast to the entire fleet. The enemy fights the way humans fight. But they made one crucial mistake. They learned to fight like humans, but they never learned to fight against humans. Engineer Dong Hyen had been working with Dr. The Jin to coordinate the hybrid technology systems. Admiral, human tactical innovations are giving us advantages the Drakari never anticipated. Their battle computers cannot predict our responses. Turning point came when Captain Haewon led her fighters in an attack that galactic military doctrine considered suicidal. She flew directly through the main Drakari formation, using her ship's speed and maneuverability to confuse their targeting systems. All fighters follow my lead, Haewon commanded. We are going to do something that no sane pilot would attempt. Her squadron flew between the massive Drakari battleships, firing at critical systems while moving too fast for the enemy's heavy weapons to track them effectively. The attack caused chaos in the Drakari formation and created openings for the larger human and galactic vessels. Impossible, Supreme Warlord Zekthor snarled as he watched his carefully planned battle dissolve into confusion. No species fights with such reckless aggression. But the most important change was not in tactics or technology. Admiral Kyosung had convinced the scattered galactic forces to adopt human military philosophy. Fight not just to survive, but to protect what you value most. Captain So-young found herself leading her alien crew with a determination she had never felt before. All vessels advance on the enemy flagship. We will show them that peaceful species can fight when their freedom is threatened. Commander Taman discovered that his Varelian warriors could be even more effective when they combined their natural strength with human-style tactical thinking. Warriors, we fight today not for conquest, but for the protection of innocence. Let that purpose guide your weapons. The battle raged for 18 hours. Ships from dozens of species fought alongside human vessels in formations that mixed galactic technology with human innovation. The cooperation between species that had been impossible just months earlier became natural when survival was at stake. Dr. Yunji coordinated medical and rescue operations that saved thousands of lives from both damaged human and alien vessels. Today we have learned that different species can become stronger when they work together rather than apart. The end came when Supreme Warlord Zekthor realized that his forces were not just losing the battle, but learning to think like their enemies. Human influence was spreading through the galactic fleets, teaching peaceful species to fight with the same determination that had allowed humans to survive alone for millennia. This is impossible, Zekthor transmitted on all frequencies. How can soft species fight like warriors? Admiral Kyosun responded with the message that would be remembered throughout galactic history. We learned from humans that survival is not about being strong. It is about refusing to give up when everything you care about is threatened. The Drakari surrender came suddenly, faced with enemies who fought like humans but had the resources of an entire galactic civilization. Zekthor's forces could not continue. The hegemony's military machine had been designed to defeat peaceful species, not warriors who combined human determination with galactic technology. In the aftermath of victory, representatives from across the galaxy gathered at Harmony Prime to formally welcome humanity as the 14th member of the Galactic Council. The ceremony was unlike any in Council history, celebrating not just the addition of a new species, but the transformation of galactic civilization itself. Speaker Elkus addressed the assembled representatives with words that would define a new era. Today we learned that humans were not just another species to join our community. They were the missing element that made our community complete. Dr. Yunji and Dr. Thejin established the first interstellar research exchange program, ensuring that human innovation would continue to benefit all species while galactic knowledge helped humanity reach new heights of achievement. Captain So-young and Admiral Kyosun began planning joint exploration missions to the galaxy's uncharted regions. Knowing that human courage combined with galactic wisdom could unlock secrets that neither could discover alone, the galaxy had learned that humans were more than just another intelligent species. They were proof that isolation and struggle could create capabilities that cooperation and peace could not. By bringing both approaches together, all species became stronger than they had ever been before. Humanity's existence was no longer a myth or a dangerous secret. It had become the foundation for a new type of galactic civilization, one that combined the best of peaceful cooperation with the strength that comes from refusing to surrender in the face of impossible odds.